What's up guys, welcome to Monchkinz Gaming, where we take your gaming to the next level. This is Monchkinz logging in to bring you another Dissidia Final Fantasy Opera Omnia video, and welcome back to another video guide. In today's video is going to be on Act 3, Chapter 3, Part 1's Lufenia fight. Before we do start, like and subscribe if you haven't already. It does help the channel guys, and I do really appreciate it. And I know this video is late, so without further ado, let's start this video. And of course, we'll start this video off in how to deal with the Lufenia orb, which starts at 100% HP mark and will disappear once Bahamut's HP gets less than 50% of his HP. You will get 7 Lufenia orb counters when Bahamut is broken. So rebreak characters like Noel, Lightning, and maybe to a lesser degree Vayne can do the rebreaks, will give you extra Lufenia orb counters. Otherwise, any other character will actually do. As long as you can break Bahamut, it should be fine. Honestly, this is a pretty lenient Lufenia orb counter. Now let's move on how the fight works. Now Bahamut has 2 phases in this fight, and you will only need to deal with the Lufenia orb until the end of the first phase. Now the first phase, there's going to be a lot of Brave plus HP attacks that are going to be coming from Bahamut and the mannequin himself. In the second phase, there is a recast ability that will basically destroy your team when it triggers. We're gonna obviously talk about this in the next section, but as for now, just note that in the second phase, he will gain all his HP. However, I feel like the HP of Bahamut isn't as high as, you know, the first phase, so it's no big deal. He will remove all his debuffs and all the silver ones anyway, so just keep an eye on that. And Bahamut cannot be delayed once you hit the second phase. And so, how are you going to be dealing with this fight? Well, the first phase is basically easy. All you really have to do is survive all the Brave plus HP attacks if you're not planning on delaying the enemies. So heal through all those HP damage, just survive and make sure that you are good. And like I said, delay will work on the first phase. During the second phase though, this is the phase where you will have to stop Bahamut from acting. So basically what you want to do is immobilize Bahamut by applying debuffs such as paralysis, sleep, confuse, or whatever it is that you want to use. You can use HP silence as well. That is another way to immobilize Bahamut. So there are a few options here. You can also use Saramu, the summon, in order to apply a paralysis. The key point here is actually doing this twice in a row. Now, technically speaking, I haven't experienced this, but I think just paralyzing Bahamut once is enough for you to survive the attack. Although don't quote me on that, since I didn't do that. Or I basically played it safe and made sure I was able to paralyze Bahamut twice in a row. Alright, so now that you know how to deal with the fight itself, what are the characters that you want to bring? Honestly, there's really no limits to the characters that you want to bring. It's just going to depend on your party compositions. Obviously, having rebreak characters is definitely going to help you in the first phase, so you don't really have to think about the Lufenia orb. But honestly speaking, if you just let Bahamut attack you, you know, he'll gain Brave, then you can break him back. So you just get a lot of Lufenia orb counters anyway. So yeah, you can bring any characters as much as you want, as long as you can either heal through the first couple of well, the first phase really. If you can heal through the first phase, then you should be fine, and if you can paralyze in the second phase, then you should be fine as well. Now, as for the call characters, honestly, instant break characters is something that you may have to bring. Jack, Bart's are obviously the ones that are very noteworthy. Lion as well. And the only reason for bringing these characters is I actually forgot to mention in the previous sections, but Bahamut in the first phase will actually get like a Brave charge. So Basically, what happens is, we've dealt with this before. Basically, the Brave Charge will reduce incoming Brave damage, so you will have to do something like an instant break. So I do apologize that I forgot to mention that on the previous section. Now, as for party compositions, well, my first suggestion is obviously going to be the team that I went with Paladin Cecil, Tifa, and Bartz. The Cole team was Amethyst Lion, Jack, and Kryle, and Tifa for my support and Ramuh for my summon. Basically, in the second phase, I use Ramuh and I use the Cole Kryle. So basically, Ramuh will be the first paralysis, and once Bahamut takes a turn, Kryle's LD call basically will trigger the trap and paralyzing him once more. So that means I am safe from that recast ability. Now, the second team I'm going with is obviously going to be, at least I should include EALD'NARCHE here. The Terror is obviously something that you can use for the second phase, which I didn't mention once again. I don't know what's happening. I'm doing this late at night after work, so I do apologize. Camlonaut is actually a pretty good option here as well. He can paralyze, so you can definitely bring him. Celeste, obviously, for EALD'NARCHE's call. Yeah, I think she's the best. I mean, he's the best one to have Celeste's call. No, Edward just for the safety. Then Tifa for the support, and Ramuh for the summon once again. Now, the final team that I have for you guys is going to include Squall, Paladin Cecil, and Bartz. The Cole team for this one is Edward, you got Jack, and you got Fujin as well. Support Tifa and Ramuh again for the summon. So basically, the idea here is basically, you know, trying to get Edward's call, LD call. So that is something you may want to consider. But again, I feel like if you have Kryle's LD call, you can replace him. It's just totally preference at this point. Alright guys, so that is basically it for this video. Of course, before we do end the video, I'll give you guys my final thoughts regarding this fight. First of all, Lufenia, you only have to deal with it in, like, the first half of the fight. It's not that big of a deal, as well as any character can pretty much do it as long as you can break the boss. It shouldn't be an issue at all. So that already gives me, like, is already suggesting to me that we are going to be putting this fight in the lower tier of the difficulties when it comes to Lufenia fights. The second phase is probably a little bit scary, but overall, if you already know how to deal with it, or if you have characters that can paralyze and stuff like that, even if you just bring Cloud, those are some of the things that you can do in order to prevent basically, you know, the boss from acting. So you can use your burst phase here as well to extend you know, your turns. So there are obviously a lot of options regarding this fight. So the biggest thing here that can probably surprise you is something that the one that I forgot to mention was the Brave Charge in the earlier sections of this video. So yeah, I wasn't expecting that. Thank God that I had like Bartz with me, so I can instantly break. And you know, I always have Jack or Amethyst Lion now on my call team, so just in case things like those happen, you know, you're pretty much prepared for like an instant break that you need. So overall, the fight, like I said, probably I would put it in the lower tier of difficulty when it comes to the Lufenia fights. So anyway, I think I'll end the video right here, guys. Please do remember to click like and subscribe if you haven't already. It does help the channel, and I would appreciate it if you share this video as well to a fellow DFFO player who is having a difficulty time clearing some Lufenia stages. And make sure to follow me on Facebook and on Twitter at Monchkinz Gaming. You can also leave down in the comments below what your teams for this, you know, for this Lufenia fight. Let me know down there, and what your strategy was if you have a different one from things that I've mentioned in this video. That would be really great as well. You can share it for the community. And yeah, this is Monchkinz logging off. Thank you very much for watching. Now we'll see you guys in the next level.